Hi guys, and welcome back to the Traore Army. Obviously you guys know that we changed from the Black Consciousness Movement channel to Traore Army because of what this young leader is doing all over the continent. Obviously he's doing things in his own country, but the encouragement is seen abroad across the whole continent. So we're like, you know what, why not? Obviously we know that most of the leaders would not want to admit it because then it will show their hypocrisy, whether African or even Western leaders. But we know that every single one of them do admire this leader. We know that. Anyway, that's Ibrahim Traore we are talking about. Having said that, we have been kind of silent on many of the things, but okay, sorry about that. Kindirit was making noise. Kindirit is my 15-year-old son. Anyway, I think I have to change the camera a little bit because it was not so clear anyway. So it's good maybe that Kindirit was making noise. So what I was saying is that we have been quiet on a lot of things, but it's because your girl has been, you know, when I'm with my husband, it's like I misbehave. I just give him all the attention and forget about the world. Anyway, so today we're gonna talk about a lot of topics, guys. Like seriously. Okay, so welcome back, and my name is Jehovah. So first of all, we're gonna start with Natim Tweda. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's a lot of letters, but I'm gonna write it here. But I think it's Natim Tweda because I think there's a silence M there. So what happened is that 2 weeks after, you know, what was exposed in South Africa where his name was involved, he apparently jumped from the 12th floor in hotel, obviously where he was. There's a lot of things going on, like, you know, like he wrote this because to his wife because he was afraid. Like, I think people are forming their own opinions, but what is really the truth? Obviously right now there's a lot of investigation going on, so we're not really, you know, sure what's going on. But for me personally, I think I have to make myself now a conspiracy theorist but you need to know where that actually came from. It was actually that word conspiracy theorist came from the divided states. Every single time when somebody wants to question their narrative, because obviously they've been putting a lot of wrong narratives. I mean, who remember what happened or what we were told during 9/11? If you remember very well what happened during 9/11 and what the information was about the Saudis and so on, and I'm gonna put a video here about what Candace said about that and the whole, you know, like where that came from and so on.
Where were you on 9/11? I mean, if you're a millennial like me, the terrorist attack left an indelible mark upon your childhood. And I want to be clear, this was the land and the time before smartphones. There were no independent media voices that were offering reports. There was no Twitter. There was no social media on Instagram. And I think now, obviously, we appreciate how significant independent voices are.
Development on Saturday. New York officials revealed at a news conference here in the city that a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that. No other details were given, but the discovery prompted the FBI and police to expand the search area down in Lower Manhattan.
I like how even the newscaster says, if you can believe that, because nope, I refuse to believe that, and you should not either. You are telling me that somebody hijacked a plane, got onto the plane, crashed the plane exploded into fire, tower collapsed. They could not even find all of the human remains. But in all of this, in all of the fire, in the collapse of the building, and all of the dust, in all of the struggle, they found, and didn't give any details of how or who found it, a passport. The little paper passport survived everything. And they go, oh, well, look, this is one of the hijackers. This is one of the Saudi hijackers. He must have dropped his passport from the sky before he flew the plane into the building.
So you're gonna start wondering, these people are actually not truth tellers, you know? They actually have the media under their pocket. They pay the media literally to create any narrative. And you need to know that with nowadays, media is whatever they give you on the news, that's what you're going to believe. And this is how they even attack. For example, with Gaddafi, they just needed to give a lot of propaganda about Gaddafi and smearing his name and all that, and then they needed just that to actually get permission to enter Libya and assassinate Gaddafi. Obviously, he was just murdered. So that's the thing that they actually wanted to do with Ibrahim Traore. It's only because now, you know what, we are awakened. Like, we know the lies. We are not, and I think this is why we need to thank independent journalists like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and all those people that are separate from being paid to report whatever it's being created and so on. So, and I'm not saying all these people, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, sometimes don't miss the point, but at least with them, they are trying to report the truth. And I always say the same, that, you know, even with me, if I come here and I say something and you find out that, oh, no, that's not the truth, at least you know that I want to report the truth. If I didn't report the truth, it has nothing to do with me deliberately trying to create that sort of narrative. It means that maybe I missed the point. Maybe the information that I had at the time was not accurate, but eventually the whole reason for this channel is to report any information as truthful as we have it and as truthful as we can from the information that we have. Now, having said that, so I'm going to put a video here quickly so that you can kind of make your own conclusion. But personally, me, when it comes to France, there's just a lot of things going on. First of all, you guys know about Macron and, you know, his wife being apparently maybe his own father, possibly, or not even that she was kind of she was a man who transgendered to a woman and so on. And I don't think any person has a problem with that. But why is it a secret if that's the case? Since this is something that is not hidden anymore. Why? But the reason that it's hidden, that's when you're gonna wonder, like, why is it then hidden? Okay, so anyway, right now, let's take a look at two different videos, and then we can come back and see what you guys think about that.
And on to our last story for today. South Africa's ambassador to France has been found dead at a Paris hotel. The body of diplomat Nkosinathi Emmanuel Nathi Mthethwa was discovered in the interior courtyard of the upscale Hyatt Hotel. He had booked a room on the 22nd floor, where a secured window was forced open with scissors found at the scene. His wife last saw him on Monday afternoon, before he was due to attend a cocktail event. Later that evening, she received a message in which he apologized and indicated his intention to end his life, according to French prosecutors. Initial investigations point to a deliberate act without any external intervention, though authorities stress the circumstances remain unclear.
There was a shock yesterday when we found out that former South African Minister Nkosinathi Emmanuel Mthethwa had passed on. He was currently serving as the South African ambassador to France. And the story is allegedly that he jumped off, or he'd fallen off a hotel in Paris, 22 floors. This story comes after apparently he'd sent an SMS or communication to his wife, I think 2 days prior. And what the rumors currently are saying, because I'm not sure if this has been confirmed, is that he'd been speaking about taking his life through suicide. So it had come out that he died. Now, there were various reports, some of them saying that they'd found him dead in his hotel room, and most of them saying that he'd fallen 22 floors to his death. And many people have got a lot of questions. Some of the reports are saying that the window was forced open from the hotel room, leading to his demise at the bottom. And many people are speculating that he may have been murdered.
Anyway, now when you listen to the whole information, it's almost like, okay, maybe he did commit suicide because he was afraid that, you know, because he was exposed and so on. But then there's another layer to it that coincidentally, whatever was exposed came at the time when there was a plan for him to be taken out. Even like there's so many layers to his death, because there's the layers of what could have been exposed from the South African side of like what, you know, he was gonna probably have to say and testify for whatever has happened or whatever he was accused of. Who was he going to bring down in that sense? But then when you look at another layer of the coin, because there's always like two layers of something, you look at what about if it's not even the South African kind of like, what if it was not even him himself committing suicide, but he was taken out from a perspective of like where he was even, like, you know, there's so many players, many actors in when something happened. So about that, for now, we're gonna kind of let it go, like, or let me say, we're gonna leave it at that. But I kind of, like I said, I'm a conspiracy theorist right now. And I think I'm proud to call myself that, since I realize that most people who are called that are actually people who are out to get the truth to the public. And that's exactly what I want to do. So for now, we're going to let it rest. Now, let's go to the second point. This is Charlie Kirk. He's 31 years old, and he's a podcaster on Breaking Point USA. And I feel like because first of all, I never actually had a clue about this guy before he was assassinated in broad daylight. And then I got to know him. And then I think, to me personally, and I'm just going to be honest, because there's many things that came out about him. Candace Owen was her best friend. And, you know, there's a lot of videos. I can probably put one here. And I just love the friendship so much. It's beautiful. So let me put the clip quickly.
You don't understand, like, the divinity of him tweeting that. Like,
I'm living in that
Charlie
21st
Dance.
century. There's something meaning to it.
So, like I said, I'm always I'm one of those people who I can disagree with you, but that doesn't mean that I cannot agree with you on some other point. Now, Charlie Kirk, for me, the problem is that people were making this guy to be like such a nice person, and maybe he was nice to his own level and so on, but I have a problem celebrating, you know, somebody who was very, very, for me, he was a racist. Now, I don't know, like, I don't know whether maybe we are watching different videos, or maybe some people are from other planets and their understanding of things are different or whatever. Maybe some people are from Jupiter. Maybe I'm from Mars. I don't know. But I've watched enough movies for me to know that the guy was a racist. For example, let's talk about how he talked about if he see a black pilot, he's gonna doubt. Like, that's a racist statement to make if you are basing it, because I went to watch the whole video as people suggest you should do. He was talking about DEI, and I think you guys know DEI stands for diversity, equality, and inclusion, which is something kind of like a system in the US where they want to make sure that people who have been disadvantaged can now at least be allowed to have equal opportunity, which I don't seem to see a problem with it. Now, this is a problem. What he suggests is that when you see a black pilot, is that he thinks that DEI means that black people are offered jobs that they don't qualify for, but that's a total joke. I think him saying that, for me, that's a white supremacist kind of thinking, because white supremacists think that black people are not qualified or capable enough to be able to earn positions. And that's a problem that I have, because when you look at DEI, it doesn't take black people who are unqualified and give them positions. No, when you think that way, then you are already in the wrong, you have already started in the wrong. What they do is that if there is maybe 10 pilots who are applying, having the same qualification, 5 are white and 5 are black, they probably gonna offer the position. Let me say they're looking for 4 positions. They're probably gonna offer those positions, maybe 3 to black people and 1 to a white person. Now, all those 4 people that have been employed are actually equally qualified. What makes you think that the 3 black people were less qualified than the one white person? That's the wrong thinking already. So Charlie Kirk, anybody defending that kind of BS narrative is actually, I don't know, it means you don't have the right information when it comes to DEI to begin with. For me, because this is the thing, we need to know that, and any person who has a problem against it, most white people has a problem against it, like, oh no, it should not be allowed. Why? Because in the past, white people got positions that they never even qualified for. They merely got it because they were white. So actually, I think they are kind of putting this kind of belief because that's what they did in the past, but that's not what's being done now. Black people are not getting positions while they don't qualify. They get position because they qualify, but they get it much more easier than the white people to kind of give them a head start. Because you guys have been having a 400 head start. Come on, how selfish is that? So I can use a lot of examples. For example, he said that the civil rights movement was supposed to not, it was not good because now black people are, what? And somebody come here and defend him and say he was not a racist? No. For me, if Charlie Kirk is being praised, then we have to apologize to Hendrik Verwoerd, who started apartheid in South Africa. Like, I don't see any difference. The only difference is because Charlie Kirk was a Christian, and that's a problem with black Christians. I have to say black Christian because most of our black people, as soon as they heard somebody is a Christian or he's mentioning Jesus, then it's hallelujah. Anything he does against anybody else or you yourself, it's okay. That's not it. Come on, guys. Don't sell yourself. I think it's also the colonized mind that is disturbing a lot of black people. You need to decolonize your mind. Because if you don't decolonize your mind, you see that everything that glitter is gold, but it's not. Just because Charlie Kirk was mentioning Jesus and so on, doesn't mean that he wasn't a racist. He is, for me personally, I feel he was. There's enough videos to show that. Now, that's the other thing. Having said that, he was not unalived by a black person because he was racist. And that's why we still need to talk about him, because he was unalived for other reasons that has to do with his Christian belief and other beliefs that he actually spoke out about. And that's why I'm saying we need to differentiate about 2 different things. Yes, he was a racist, but that doesn't mean that, you know, it was fair for him to be unalived in that kind of way. And also because there is a lot of belief, and I'm going to put some videos here of why they think he was actually unalived and who that is, you know, because some people and some nations you can't mention anywhere because then you're in trouble. So yeah, so let's look at some of the videos.
But there's a lot of things the Israeli government does that I don't like. I can name them. The Israeli government has really bad abortion policies. The Israeli government has gay pride parades in downtown Tel Aviv. The Israeli government pushed the vaccine on all their people and basically turned Israel into a petri dish for a vaccine that none of us supported. I don't like the fact that the Israeli government mistakenly or unmistakably bombed a church the last couple weeks ago. We shouldn't support that. With all that being said, though, Israel looks like a much better country when contrasted with what I said earlier, with Islamic totalitarianism around it. They're not a perfect country. They're not a country that, honestly, we should even talk as much as we do. But we as Christians should pray for the peace of Jerusalem. That is unmistakable. We as Christians should reject Jew hate. And we as Christians should find unity in one thing that we can all agree on. We should seek to bring every Jewish person on the planet to Jesus Christ, because Jesus is the answer.
Okay, so you can see. So obviously, there is something sinister going on when it comes to his assassination. It has nothing to do with because he was racist and a black person. And I guess, to be quite honest, when that happened, most people, you know, I don't want to mention them, thought it was a black person, but it wasn't a black person. So they got disappointed. Anyway, having said that, that's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot more I want to share as well. But for now, I'm probably gonna say good day, guys. And from me, Jehovah, take care. see you in the next video where we're going to discuss a lot more and maybe bring some more news about, you know, the discussion today, if we found some other news and so on. So yeah, take care. Bye.